Trump's depraved policies and his use of immigration law to deport people who express viewpoints that he does not agree with, the assault on the First Amendment. And rather than talk about it in the abstract, we wanted to bring on somebody to brief our audience about a particular person, Emmy Award-winning journalist, who in Georgia, who has been living here legally for years, running his own news organization that's relied upon by people in Georgia and throughout the United States, reporting on ICE abuse, or as we like to say, when you got an ICE problem, apply heat. And certainly Mario Guevara has done exactly that with his MG News, but he's on the cusp of being removed and deported from this country because of his expression of the First Amendment. And to put this in context, just yesterday, we had a senior status federal judge in Massachusetts, Judge Young, in 161 pages say that the Trump administration is violating the First Amendment rights of those that are here, whether legally or illegally. It is still a violation of the First Amendment. And in that case, trying to suppress the speech and chill the speech of professors and students and student activists who came out about the Israeli-Hamas dispute and issues, and Judge Young is having none of it and has called out Donald Trump's assault on the First Amendment. With that as a context, I'm pleased to bring in Scarlett Kim, Senior Staff Attorney at the American Civil Liberties Union, the Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project, to talk about the case. This is moving so fast that as of this recording, her client, because the ACLU represents him, is barely hanging on here in the United States, but there's a threat of him being deported at any minute back to El Salvador. Scarlett, welcome to Illegal AF.
Thank you so much for having me.
Catch everybody up, because I can tell you that while we're putting a lot of attention on it, and certainly the ACLU has had a number of articles that get published about it, I don't think my audience knows much about this Emmy Award-winning journalist and what he was doing on No King's Day, no less, and how he got picked up, and then this Kafka-esque process to separate him from his family. So why don't you tell our audience all about it?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Mario is an Emmy Award-winning journalist. He runs his own news outlet called MG News, which really specializes in live streaming immigration enforcement activity. So Mario's beat was basically waking up at 6 a.m. every morning. He had almost 1 million followers to his account. And he would basically follow leads on where ICE raids were occurring, and he would document them in real time. In June 2025, June of this year, he was documenting a No Kings protest in the Atlanta area, and he was arrested by local law enforcement and charged with a couple of misdemeanors, basically for stepping into a roadway. And those charges were very quickly dismissed, but ICE took him into its custody, and he's been in ICE detention since, so over 100 days. There are a couple of really alarming things about his case. I mean, the first relates to his long detention in ICE custody, where he was actually issued a bond order by an immigration judge on July 1st, but ICE refused to release him and argued repeatedly in justifying its refusal to release him that his reporting on law enforcement activity is in and of itself inherently dangerous.
Let's stop right now. So now we've got an administration that if you pull out your cell phone and you start recording, doing nothing else to interfere, but documenting what is happening, you are now interfering with law enforcement, and you could be subject to severe penalties and sentence if you are convicted of that crime. Is that where we are as an administration right now?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for non-citizen journalists, what's particularly dangerous is that they could be reporting something. The government, Secretary Noem recently described filming ICE as violence. And you could be retaliated against, and you could have the full force of the immigration enforcement system come down on you through detention, through potential removal proceedings. And that's essentially what has happened to Mario.
Yeah, and in the Judge Young's decision, which we have up on our Legal AF Substack, he documented, because he had an evidentiary hearing, at least 5 different non-native professors who've said our speech is chilled, even though we're here legally watching what has happened to fill in the blank. We're not speaking out, which is exactly what Donald Trump wants, right? He wants to run an administration in terrorem in order to stop viewpoints from being expressed that he doesn't agree with, like Mario's, your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. The Committee to Protect Journalists issued or filed a declaration in our habeas case, and they noted the enormous chilling effect that Mario's detention has had on, in particular, non-citizen journalists and those reporting on the actions of public officials in this country.
We like to joke that on Legal AF it's sort of a TED Talk meets a law school class.
Sure.
Right? And even though many of our audience are not in the law profession the way that you and I are, they've learned a thing or two being around Legal AF for the last 5 years. Talk about the different legal proceedings that are currently going on and which ones have overcome the other, and what are you on pins and needle, and therefore Mario's family. I was cried during it. I read an article that was written by his son, who's taken over the news organization. There's a, let's get to the human quality here. There's a person who's been here lawfully with a Social Security card, working with a proper permit. His job just happens to be journalism and reporting on this administration, and they're using the immigration laws to try to silence him and send him out of the country. You got a couple of proceedings. Why don't you kind of tie all that together for our audience?
Sure. So we filed a habeas petition in federal court in August, which focused really on his unlawful detention. And we argued that the government's basis for detaining him, the justification being that his reporting is inherently dangerous, is a First Amendment violation. And we've been calling for his release from detention since we filed that case. There's a parallel immigration proceeding that relates to whether or not Mario can remain in this country. And as you said, Mario, he had removal proceedings that were being litigated 13 years ago, and the government agreed to basically close those proceedings. So since that time, he's been here lawfully, working lawfully. He has a social security number. He's committed no crime, had no criminal arrest record prior to the dubious arrest he experienced in June. He has 2 U.S. citizen children, a U.S. citizen mother, a U.S. citizen sister, U.S. citizen brother. He's a successful businessman. He's a pillar of his community. When he was brought into ICE detention, the government decided that it would reopen the 13-year closed removal proceedings against him. And what's this?
This is LG. You see, Donald Trump don't care nothing about no black and brown people. Donald Trump don't even care nothing about no poor whites. Donald Trump, he just want to be a dictator. He just drunk with power. He just drunk with, he'll do anything. I do mean anything to get attention. He'll do anything to get in the front of that camera. And you see, he never wrong. The Bible tell you that there ain't nobody that ain't never wrong. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. There is none righteous. No, not one. There is none that understand. There is none that seeks after God. We are all going out of the way. Donald Trump is against the Constitution. If Donald Trump is against the Constitution, he against God. He against Christ. And if Donald Trump is against God, and Donald Trump is against Christ, and Donald Trump is against the Constitution, then Donald Trump is against me. Donald Trump is evil. I have never in my 68 years actually sinned for myself. I have never. I saw video of George Wallace standing in the doorway of the University of Alabama. I've seen the National Guard had to go down and let the kids go to school in Arkansas. I have never seen so much evil. When he done corrupted the House of Representatives, he done corrupted the United States Senate, he done corrupted the Supreme Court, he done corrupted DOJ, he done corrupted the FBI, he done corrupted the CIA, he done corrupted Homeland Security. I have never seen so much evil that we're gonna let one man that's got dementia drive the country into a civil war. I keep on praying and I keep on telling white people, black people are not gonna turn back. We're not gonna go to the left. We're not going to go to the right, and we're not going to retreat. We are the children of the Most High God. We are American citizens. We have the same right to defend ourselves, just like the prejudiced Mike Johnson them and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They're the one that's against the Constitution. They're the one that's prejudiced. They're the one that hate people because of the color of their skin. God is with us. All we have to do is stand up. Don't start no trouble. But if trouble come, you have every right to defend your town, your city, your community, your city, and your state. You have the right to stand up with your governor and let your governor lead you and guide you in the way that your state wants you to go. And may God be with you. Bye-bye.